Hello, hello, and welcome back to Soul Star Radio. I'm Jacquelene Close-Moore and your host, and I'm currently in my dining area of the home that we've sold. Woo! And hubby's reading a book, which is probably a good thing for him to be doing. So last week we talked about what to do if your dreams and hopes and all of that sort of thing aren't quite happening and how to get positive with that. And we'll certainly, there's links on the website and on Facebook to how to do an abundance ritual and things like that. But we sort of left off talking about we had nowhere to go and 20 days left before having to be in a new home, and how this was a test of our real time walking of our talk, and how we sort of do that and trusting in faith. And that doesn't mean going out and doing stupid things, but, you know, how you can trust and have faith in your belief in your ability to attract what you're doing, and also the practical steps to get there. So it's all great having an idea of this is what I want, but you actually have to do the things, then make it happen. So essentially over the last number of days since the show, we've actually looked through 10 houses, dealt with 6 agents, put in 3 offers, 2 were accepted, 1 we withdrew, and we've bought a home that we're moving into in now 11 days. No, yes, 11 days. So we bought this house and it found us. It certainly did. It was not a house that we would have even considered, of course, but it found us, and hilariously enough, it's the same street number of the one we're in. Yeah, over this whole time, I think I've done about 2,000. I actually added up and I got to 2,000 kilometres of driving backwards and forwards and going crazy, which is really a bit tiring. So don't mind me if I get out Captain tissues here with little angels on them. I really didn't intend to buy a box with angels on the tissues, but apparently God is watching me blow my nose. So there's some kind of blessing in that, even if it's just having a bit of a strange snicker about it. But I do welcome you to call in today, and certainly you can also write in on soulstar.media or soulstarradio.com, and you can write in and I can do a reading for you. So I do hope to hear from you, and I do thank you very much for connecting with us when you do, and hopefully I'll be able to get my husband on air and he'll be able to join me and do some readings, but we have to sort of work on his hearing with that one so that it's going to be nice and comfy for him. But yes, so do feel free to call in. But yes, so I guess the thing to look at is how to make your dreams into reality is to go in the direction of your dreams, but do the practical things to make it happen. I see a lot of people who they might have read The Secret, or they might have read this book or that book about positive reinforcement and manifestation type things. And the problem can be that even as a psychic, you can be sitting there and going, wow, you know, I can see this house. And sure enough, it's the very house that they've been thinking about for 2.5 years. And but no, they don't have the money to buy it, and they probably won't for a long time, given the mindset. But they've got the house in their mind, and they've got the flyers from when it was on sale, someone else has bought it. And there's no way that they could service that loan to even apply to get it. To buy it, and it's not saying they could never afford it, but they had not done anything in that 2.5 years to actually increase their income to a level where they could get that house. So, you know, there were things that they could have done to make that happen, but it's about getting not just your dreams in order, but also your sense of perspective in order. You know, have you got it? Have you been doing the practicalities to make your dreams happen? You know, have you been working on, you know, improving things on that level? So in that particular case, they need to earn more income. And what they've done instead is they've actually gone and resigned from their job and taken a very long holiday, which probably wasn't going to help them get that loan. So, you know, so it's sort of important to make sure you're addressing that sort of part of things to make it all happen. So don't be afraid to have your dreams realised, and it doesn't mean that because you can't afford it today you won't in 10 years or 5 years or 2 years, but to stay very focused on that one dream rather than I'd like to do this, but I could do that, but I could do this. And there's a saying my husband has, which he ascribes to leprechauns for some reason, and he says, make 3 wishes given to one and all, but make the 4th and you lose them all. It's a little bit like that story about the monkey's paw. Everyone has to make that one more wish, don't they? So it's about making sure that you're focused on where you want your dreams to go to, and you don't keep contradicting yourself, because it's that contradiction that will actually change the ability for the universe to deliver what your new idea of reality is, because the universe will change to fit that idea and will alter around to make it happen. So if your ideas are going way over here and you've got another one way over there and they're kind of conflicting and they don't actually have an ability to coexist in the real world, well, then we're going to have some trouble making that happen. But if you can focus on one thing at a time, or even if it's 3 things, but that those 3 things don't actually conflict, because if they conflict, it ain't going to happen. So wanting to buy that expensive house doesn't work if you also want to take a very long time off your job and maybe, go and plant seeds somewhere. So think about it that way. Anyway, we're going to our first caller, and I'm very happy that he's here. We have Richard in California. Are you there?
Yes, I am, honey. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Oh, thank you so much for calling in. I always feel very special when people call in, and they do all the time, but it's just nice to make that connection all the way across the Pacific there. If I can get your date of birth, I can start to do a reading for you. What was your date of birth there?
May 9, 1961.
Ah, very good. So with your energy, what I really get there is it's all about having to make sure that you weigh up the options and that you're very, very clear on your perspective. So it's really hilarious, because I was just talking about remaining focused on your goals, and then you can actually manifest them, whereas if we're not focused, then it goes all over the shop. So that's kind of calling out to you as well. But this last year has been really full on, a lot of having to change very quickly, make manoeuvres around that perhaps you wouldn't have thought of doing, and then having to be very flexible to, I guess, the new way things are going to be happening here. A lot of over the last couple of years, it's been a lot of very big changes, and even changing in where we thought we were going as to where we are going now. So it's sort of like the whole goalpost has shifted, is how I would see this. And with your energy as well, you really like to make sure that you believe in what you're doing in order to fully invest into it. And it takes you slow, steady steps to get there, I feel. But once you are really focused and committed on it, it's like you become unshakable about that. The issue can be that sometimes certain things in your life, it can be like a bit like a revolving door. It's like, oh, I thought I dealt with that, and here it is again, and here it is again. So you just
yeah, very true.
And even friendships, it's like, well, hang on, where'd they go? Oh, no, they'll come back. It's all right. So you have to kind of always be very philosophical, which I think is what you do. But if you believe in what you're doing, you're absolutely magnetic with it. And if you don't believe in what you're doing, you just can't even start. And certainly if you're trying to sell something you don't believe in, nobody wants it. But if you're passionate about what you're doing or selling, people just come from the woodwork. They just want to be around you when you're doing it. So it's all about that heart and that integrity in what you're doing. And now, was there a question you wanted me to look at for you today?
No, that's pretty much it. A lot of twisting and turning, and I have to be very quick on my feet, and I feel like I have to be very nimble.
Yes.
Do you see anything I should definitely stay away from?
I would stay away from anyone that you feel that you're just not jiving with and that you feel is not being true in what they're saying, that's a really important thing for you, because I do feel that you'd be coming across a number of people like that over the course of this year. It's all about really listening to your heart, which thankfully I feel you do. You have the ability to tune in and go, well, that feels all right, or, so if you're feeling, if you're feeling something's not quite right, it really isn't. And are you aware, like what I pick up with you is I feel as if you perceive people's energy through their aura. I'm just not sure whether you see the colours, but I do feel that you feel people's energy, and I do feel that coming from the aura. So whether you're seeing it or perceiving it, you do pick up on people in that way. And so you know whether they are someone who is a person of their word or not very quickly. And that's where, listening to that's the most important thing for you, because that helps guide the question of who you should and who you should not connect with, even on a business level, as to how that's going to go, because you're someone who has to deal with things within integrity, and if you don't feel that there's integrity in the deal, it just doesn't work. And that's where if you're trying to deal with people who don't have integrity, that really goes sideways for you. It goes pear-shaped. So you do have to really work with people that you know you're on the same wavelength with. It's really, really important.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. Yes. Thank you very much for your time. I really think you nailed it. You did a very good job. Thank you very much for the reading.
Very welcome. One more thing for you. I do expect some rather interesting times in a good way on a financial level over the next 18 months. Just as I said to you, just be picky on who we're working with.
Very well. I will take your advice. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Very welcome, and God bless you as well there, Richard. And that is Richard the Lionheart, I'm going to call him, from California. He's a very courageous man, I feel, and he's someone, if you sort of felt his energy there, and sorry to sort of do a bit of a Googling on you there, on your energy level there, Richard, where everyone's sort of looking at you, but really there is a lot of that sort of desire to be going in the direction of that courageous focus that I was talking about before, and really sticking to the eye of what we're wanting, but remaining very flexible, because that way, you might think that what you need is to be in this particular spot doing this particular thing, and then someone can show you something and it's like, oh, well, that's actually perfect. And it can be that the universe guides you in many ways, not just in the way that it has to fit for you. So that's that flexibility that he's got that is really, really important if you're trying to manifest good things. That actually helps you get there. So that's thank you so much for your call there, Richard. It's been an absolute blast. We've got Carol in Wilmington, North Carolina. Are you there, Carol?
Yes, I'm here.
Woo! We've got two of you. We've got a bit of an echo there. You might need to turn the sound down. I'm not quite sure how that's happening for you. But if I can get your date of birth, I can do a reading for you.
December 1st.
Yes, and the year?
1983.
Brilliant. Lovely. Okay, so what we've got with you straight away is we've got Saturn going through your sun sign until December this year. It'll be great when that's done. And yeah, it's been a time of having to get really real about things and get a lot more fully present in your own life in a way, because you've been very kind of, you're very good at being down to the facts and very details oriented when it comes to other people, but you've kind of been a bit missing in action to do with yourself a bit there. And over the last couple of years, this Saturn going through your sun sign has forced you to look at things in a different way, to really sort of buckle down and get a lot more focused and a lot more fully present in the decisions you're making. So it's been quite a big few years for you of really fully arriving, I might call it, because you've had to get a lot more focused on what works for you, what feels right for you, what doesn't, really knowing yourself about those sorts of things, rather than trying to help others who don't really kind of take on board what you're saying anyway, and being able to tune into yourself as to what the limits and boundaries for relationships, friendships, and dealing with people is. beginnings, and, how invested are they, and really listening to that and being a lot clearer on it, and therefore knowing who does and does not value what you're bringing to the table here. And this last year would have brought a lot of endings, and I think also the ability to start working towards new beginnings. But you're having to kind of be very, at the moment, methodical about everything, just one step at a time, rather than trying to, I guess, press on ahead this way or that way with an inflexibility. There does need to be this flexibility. So it's really quite interesting that the way the calls have gone so far, because this is like a follow-on from the last one, of needing to really work on, in your case, that flexibility towards... to me, it's like you can sometimes decide that this person's really great and then they're always great, or this person's really not great and then they're always not great, and that's it. Whereas what this last year's forced you to look at is that they're not always as they used to be. It's not always what it seems, and it allows you to see the world in a bit of a different way, see people in a different way, and therefore... interact with them in a different way, rather than giving too much or too little in the situation and then later on sitting back and going, oh, that wasn't quite what I needed to do. So really this year will be very, very busy for you. I do feel that I'd be really seeing dealing with money in a different way, but I'm also feeling as if we're dealing with family in a different way. Now, was there a question you wanted me to look at for you today, darling?
Well, I think for me, this last year has been just so rough mentally, but also health-wise. I'm just trying to see if this new year things are just going to be better for us.
Absolutely.
For me.
Yeah, look, absolutely. Well, if we look at 2016 for you and we look at Saturn going through the sun sign, that can pull up issues around health as well and truly, because this last year you've been in a 4-year and that energy's still carrying through, really, I feel, until about May this year. So I would see things improving on that level, but it's like you do need to stop and take stock and look at that in a bit of a different way. What is it that you can do to change the routine that gets more out of things for you? That's going to be important thing, but also it's about measuring your time, your energy, and your money as well. And money is energy, and energy is money, but also love is energy and health is energy. It's all about how we deal with what's coming in, sort of the energy input from other people as well as the environment around us, and looking at that sort of thing. So I do feel it's going to be offering you a lot this year, but it's like you're going to be very busy this year with shifting things around in your life and in getting it where you're wanting it to be more so. I also feel that it's really important for you to make sure that, and as insane as it may seem, making sure you're drinking lots of water, flushing things through the body, making sure you're getting that time out to really reflect on where life's going. That can help you assess what you're putting energy into, and is that the right activity, person, event for me to be involved with, if that makes sense to you. Because it's like a reassessment going on. Yeah, it's a reassessment going on here, and I actually feel as if there's a lot of ability to just reestablish yourself in some way, and really start to revitalise. But this is just going to be a bit of a journey through the course of this year. I don't feel that this year will be as full on for you as what last year was. I do feel you're through the absolute most of this, but just do keep focusing back on and saying, well, does this feel right for me? And really taking the time to consider that, and then, yes, okay, if this feels right for me, we'll do more of that. If this doesn't feel right for you, well, okay, we need to pull back a bit. And the other thing as well is, if your body starts relaxing, you're going in the right direction. If your body and your anxiety levels are going through the roof, we're going, generally speaking, in a very stressful direction, and that stress can sometimes be attributed to it not being where we're needing to be going. So I find myself that in our house hunt we were doing recently, for example, that when I was looking at the right house, I was able to just simply and I was relaxed. And when I was not looking at the right houses, I was actually not sleeping. And the night before we went to the particular town in which we did find the house we bought, and this was 5 days of not sleeping, this particular night, just before we went there, I had the best sleep in entire 5 days because I literally had sold the house on the Thursday, and it was the Monday that Sunday night leading into Monday, that I was finally able to sleep. Up until that point, I was anxious each night, even though I was doing my breathing and relaxing, but my body was still going, freaking out. And of course, when our body's freaking out like that, it's because we haven't quite settled yet, or we're not quite there yet. But as soon as the night before that town, body just completely relaxed, walked into 2 houses I could easily have bought. We ended up buying one of them. And then since then, I've had absolutely no trouble sleeping. And the whole body is just really calm. And I've got literally 10 days or 11 days or something to move out of our house and move into the other one. So it's been crazy. But, it just indicates to you an example I can give you of when you're in that right direction and you can intuitively feel you're going in that right direction, then the body does relax. And when we're going the wrong direction, or when it's a very stressful event we're going through, well, yeah, okay, that's where the body can be affected, and our body is a barometer to what's going on in our life. So, you can have people with sciatica and lower back pain, particularly around the hips, around the gluteus maximus, and, some people can be a maximum pain in the butt, can't they? So that's where someone with, if anyone's listening, who's got, a sore hips out the back here, who is it that's being a pain in the backside? Or it is the person themselves kicking themselves in the backside. So I don't think it's that so much with you, but I'm just giving different examples of how the body reacts. And with you, I feel this has been more of a lack of energy for one thing, and having to really take stock of your life, because there's been this need to sit still. There's been this need to just stop and just take things in, smell the roses, and really look at where life's going for you. And that's been enabling you to now look at, so what do I want the rest of my life to look like? Have I been travelling in the right direction? And what do I want to change about this so that I can get more out of it? And that's what that's been doing for you. So it's not that an experience is bad, or that something happened to us. It's, okay, well, how can I use this? What can I get out of this and make from it? Because good or bad experience is still experience. It's still stuff we can grow from and use and actually turn our life around to where we may want to go if we haven't been going where we wanted to. And sometimes life also turns us around to directions we don't think we want to go to, but end up taking us down the path of exactly where we need to be. So I do feel that although it's more like not exactly where you wanted to go to, but it is taking where you want to be, I do feel that in the long run, you look back on this whole period and feel very settled about yourself, actually. And I feel as well, being able to leave a lot of the past behind, and really a lot more decisive in your life than what you have been, and therefore able to communicate through that decisiveness and have people stop challenging you quite so much about your boundaries as well here, and stop trying to push you beyond your limits, because you'll be very, very clear on what those limits are. You'll be naming them, and you'll have that expectation, and therefore that feeling, that energy feeling of, look, I'm here to help you, but just don't mess with me. So it's going to be... Yeah, it's going to be good, because, you can't go through Saturn going through your sun side without some significant change. Often that can be to how people appear. It can be change in wardrobe. It can actually affect health. But if it does affect health, it's giving you the opportunity to completely, get a lot more out of life at the end of it, at the end of that period of the Saturn going through sun sign. So 21st of December 2017, you can light a candle and have a party because Saturn will be leaving your sun sign. But Saturn never really leaves us. It just keeps moving around the chart nice and slowly, because that's what Saturn does. But Saturn is not a malefic so much. It's not a bad thing because it's still just a development tool. So you're going to have a lot of opportunity out of this, and certainly in the next couple of years you'll be able to look back on this time and go, oh, that's really glad that's not there anymore, and I've learned everything I needed to learn there. And I do feel that's what you're going to be able to say. I'm going to pull out a goddess card for you to help you on your way to get you where you want to go, and to certainly improve health and your personal standing with yourself in a way as well, that confidence.
Okay.
So let me have a look at who we're calling out today. Woohoo! Here we go. So I'll get you to focus, Carol. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. That's it. That's the card. Okay, got it. I just wanted to bring you into that. There we go. So the card you've got, I'm just going to show it up to the screen. You'll be able to see this later. But it's called Tara, and it's all about centering yourself. This is all about bringing things back into calm and peace. If you can do any form of meditation, that's going to help you a great deal, not just with the health, it's actually going to help you with, believe it or not, the income. So, the more we're centered, focused, clear, the easier it is to make things change around us to the direction we want to go. And just remember, only try and do 3 things at once as far as what you're trying to manifest change in your life with, because then you can focus on them. It's enough to focus on. But any more than that, it does just get a bit sort of out of hand. So that's what I would say to get you where you're wanting to go. And also for your healing, I'm going to pull out a card as well. So we've got the goddess Tara, which is all about that meditative thing. There's also something called the Tara ritual within Buddhism that you can look into as well. That may come in handy in some way. But I'm just going to pull out a angel card, which I can do. Here we go. Yep, okay. So just keep clearing. You will, so there's a lot of healing going on here. I've actually got Raphael coming up, which is all about healing. But I've also, the card I've got there is talking about clarifying, purifying, detoxifying. That's what's going to help you along the way here. So I'll just show you up that card. Here it is. Here. Ooh, there we go. So you'll be able to look at this later if you can't see it now. And you'll see the angel that's in there. But that's the one that's coming out for you at the moment to help you on your way. You are going towards a very calm space in time later on. As I said, you'll look back with a lot of peace in your heart, and it's going to be really good. So just keep firing on, my dear. You can also connect to us on Soulstar Radio if you're looking for us. Thank you so much for your call, Carol, and also to Richard. And thank you also to our listeners. Sorry if I couldn't get to you, and I wish you a happy week. I'll catch you same time, same bat channel next week. You can find us on Facebook. Just look up Soulstar Radio. Catch you next week.